Do you think native speakers get an band 9 automatically?
Absolutely not.
Which English am I using when I'm applying for IELTS?
It really doesn't matter much. Welcome to the speaking section of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. It has 3 parts. I will ask you questions for each, and I will give you instructions. To begin, may I see your identification, please?
Yes, here's my passport that I use for registration.
Thank you. And what is your full name?
My full name is Al-Sabah Rahman, and you can call me Al-Sabah.
Okay, Al-Sabah. Here is your passport back. Thank you. For part 1, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Where are you from?
I'm originally from India, a small town called Bhopal, and it's famous as the city of lakes. It's a beautiful little city.
Do you work or study?
I work here, and in fact, I work for myself. I'm a marketing consultant, and I help brands connect with people through communication.
Let's talk about travel. Do you enjoy traveling?
It's my most favorite thing in the world. I grew up traveling with my parents, and that's what introduced me to this passion of exploring new places and learning about the world. It has given me a lot of perspective, and currently I am living in Canada, which is my 4th country, and I hope to travel to more countries.
What is the most interesting place you have visited?
The most interesting place that I've visited is probably Jasper. It's a national park in Alberta, and it is stunning. The mountains, the vistas, the lakes, and there's so much wildlife. It feels like nature has come alive. It has still preserved the wildness of nature while keeping the comforts for travelers. And I absolutely recommend it to anyone who wants to see the rare beauty of Canada.
Do you prefer traveling alone or with others?
I personally prefer to travel with others, and I travel extensively with my husband. In fact, I make him travel more than he wants to. And I inspire others through our Instagram page, Stand and How, because I feel like the outdoors are calling all of us, and there's a lot to learn and explore out there. And that's what my mission in life is, sort of.
How do you usually plan your trips?
To be honest, I do not plan our trips, but to be a spontaneous traveler, there's a lot of planning that goes in the background. You need to understand the lay of the land, where you're going. You need to pack extensively because you could be going anywhere. You need to have the right gear, the right clothing, and I feel like that counts as big time planning.
Have you ever had any problems while traveling?
Oh my God, more than I can count on my fingers. But I'll share one funny story with you. So Yash and I were, my husband and I, we were traveling to Zanzibar, and he wanted to surprise me by booking a Vespa so we could zip around the island on a two-wheeler. And when the Vespa arrived, it wasn't the fancy new colored Vespas. It was a rickety old broken down Vespa with a kickstart. And we decided to play along. We said, okay, we'll take this, and we went off, and the Vespa broke down in the middle of nowhere. The short story is we live to tell the story, and it's something that I cherish as a memory.
What kind of places would you like to visit in the future?
I would love to visit South America from north to south on a van trip with my husband again, and explore all the different countries, the diverse cultures, and see what this world has to offer, like beyond what I've seen so far.
That's the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these questions. Think about your answers. You can take notes in this 1 minute preparation time if you wish. You have your note paper and your pencil there.
Okay.
And then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Is that clear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Then describe a fun project you worked on. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
So, I'm going to share the fun project that I recently worked on, and it was called the Embrace the Cold Challenge that Yash and I took upon ourselves. The idea was to stop hiding from cold and try new things outdoors. You see, we come from India, and the part of India which is not as cold, and we don't get single digit temperatures. So we decided that we are going to try as many outdoorsy things as possible. We made a list of about 25 activities that we wanted to try, and we learned by our research that there are no bad weather, there's no bad weather, only bad clothes. So we also collected like good gear, and we educated ourselves by learning about the safety and rules to explore the wild in cold weather. I'm extremely proud that we started the year with polar plunge, and then we went snowboarding in Whistler. We hiked 3 frozen lakes, and we also went ziplining over the mountains. And in February, we also took our community of expats and immigrants on a snow tubing trips. For some of them, it was their first day out in the snow, which was really gratifying. This challenge went on for 10 weeks, and we ended up loving the outdoors, the adventure, and just pushing ourselves outside our comfort zone and inspiring others to try new things. We got really good engagement on those posts too, and it ended up in getting us brand deal with a hotel as well. And so overall it was a combination of fun and a very rewarding project.
Okay, your 2 minutes is up. I will stop you there. Please put the note paper to the side, turn it over, and then, yeah, thank you. And then we'll continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you questions related to your response and some questions connected to this topic. Did you share this project experience anywhere?
Yes, of course. So we share it on our Instagram page, Stand and How, where we have almost 10,000 followers and a reached audience of 250,000 expats, immigrants, and explorers who want to see what Canada has, because people say like it's such a cold place, but there's so much to do, and we share all our experiences there.
Let's talk more about planning and creating things. Why is planning important when starting a new project?
Mm, when it comes to traveling, planning is very important. Although Yash and I do not plan our trips, like I said, to be a spontaneous traveler, you need to know a lot of things in the background. You need to do your research, you need to know the routes, you need to have enough resources in terms of your gear, your clothing, you need to pack right, and then you need to be adaptable. So if things change, you should take it with a pinch of salt and make the most of it and enjoy.
Do you think some people are naturally more creative than others? Why or why not?
Yes, I think some people are naturally more creative, but with the right kind of nurturing, anyone can be creative. So it's a mix of nature and nurture for me.
How can teamwork influence the success of a project?
I cannot emphasize enough on how much teamwork impacts the success of any project. And I would say it's not just like professionally, but in your life as well. Because I am in a relationship where my husband takes up a lot of responsibilities, he shares a lot of responsibilities. So that kind of teamwork lets us do a lot more than what we would do individually.
How has technology changed the way people plan and create projects?
Technology has completely changed the way people plan and do projects now. It is all virtual. There are a lot of apps and resources to help you out. AI is playing a big role nowadays. When we are planning our trips, We make use of a lot of apps to book places. If we are not booking them in advance, at least we know what are our options. And then we also have maps and AI tools to be the spontaneous travelers that we are.
Do you think schools should focus more on creative projects?
Absolutely. I feel in our creative journey, we started, Yash and I both are environmental engineers, and then we moved on to do our MBA in marketing and pursue a career in that. And now we are content creators. I wish if we had tools that, or if we had our school teach us more about the creative tools that we use now, our learning curve would be much more smaller, and yeah, we would have been more successful probably.
What kinds of projects are popular among young people these days?
The most popular projects amongst young people these days are raw, authentic experiences. Our DMs and comments are full of requests and compliments on our storytelling, and people want to know exactly the hidden gems that we find. How do we get there, and what's our strategy of finding these places and the exact locations. It's the honest storytelling that comes from our page on Tandenhau that people really appreciate, and having all these local experiences and sharing our version of it.
Okay, that is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking section of the exam. You will have your mark in 2 days online, and in about 10 days, you will have the official certificate. Thank you.
Thank you.
You had all of the key criteria for that Band 9 for fluency and coherence, lexical resource, use some amazing vocabulary. Like when you, for instance, when you described the Vespa that you and your husband had taken on vacation on rental, you called it a rickety old. Yes, but that kind of vocabulary, it's noticeable, it's high level, and it's sprinkled throughout your responses. Very good use of the questions. It's a great strategy for these IELTS interviews to reflect the question. Like when I asked in part 3, how can teamwork influence the success of a project? You said, oh, I think teamwork is critical for the success of a project. So you basically reflected that question, and that's a very good way of doing it. Was it perfect speaking? No, and that's okay. A Band 9 is not perfect. You can still make some slight mistakes here and there, as long as they don't change the meaning or make it confusing. That's absolutely fine. Sometimes candidates get really nervous when they say an expression by accident, like, oh my God. But again, you're not being judged on that. So, and it is natural, okay? You used the term to be honest. And this is for a lot of candidates out there. Be really careful with that. Some candidates tend to way overuse that expression, to be honest. They start every sentence by, to be honest, to be honest. You did not do that, which is why you got a Band 9. Somebody who would start every sentence with that is probably going to lose some band scores eventually. You used it naturally. When I asked you, how do you usually plan your trips? And you said, to be honest, we don't plan them. And that's a correct usage rather than an awkward, repetitive usage, right? So it's very important. There was one question in part 3 where you asked for the question to be repeated, and then you said, oh, sorry, and then you corrected yourself. That's natural language. It's totally normal. You actually get scores for that. It's called self-correction and natural correction, right? It's always a better choice than giving a weird answer, right? That's a good strategy. All right. Do you have any questions for me?
So you just mentioned that I used to be honest, and you said like sometimes people overuse it. So what would be those cases where people overuse expressions like that?
There are certainly catchphrases that examiners hear often, and examiners can usually tell when a video, like a YouTube video, has gone viral where it's telling people use this phrase and you'll get a Band 9, because then every candidate is using it for every sentence, like the to be honest. A great way to think about this is individual diction. So every person has a style of speaking, slang language that we pick up from our friends or family, and then we make it our own and we start to overuse it. And for those high band scores, like a band 8 or a band 9, it is expected that the candidate can control their diction. So it's like awareness of your speech. So, for instance, being aware that you're overusing a phrase like "to be honest," or overusing the ending of answers like "and so on," etc. Right, and then being able to stop oneself from overusing it. So that's a key aspect of those high band scores, because there are so many different ways to start sentences. Like, in my opinion, from my experiences, the way I've seen it in the past. And to have that variety will make it sound better, will make it more coherent, right? Because when we get really redundant or repetitive, it starts to become less understandable. And also, it increases lexical resource, because ultimately the person's using more vocabulary, right? So these are the reasons we control our diction when it's very repetitive.
Okay, got that. I have another question. Do you think native speakers get band 9 automatically?
Absolutely not. So IELTS is a proficiency exam. It is not an English as a second language exam. In fact, I'm sure, as you're aware, English is a primary language in India as well. And now Indian English is an official form of English, right? So we could say that even in India, there are a lot of native English speakers now that take the exam who are exceptionally good at English. They just speak the Indian English dialect, right? Or in the US, there are Americans who take the IELTS exam that didn't pass high school English and need a job, or need it for immigration purposes. There are I think it's something like over 500,000 native English speakers each year now that take the IELTS exam for some reason. And a lot of them do not get a band 9. So a band 7 means a good user of English, and that's basically everyday, casual, natural English. So a lot of native speakers will score between that 7 and band 8 range. So they'll score like a 7, 7.5, 8. I actually met a guy from Australia who took the exam, and he said, "Yeah, I was surprised I got a 7.5. I thought I'd do better." Uh, so to get those higher bands like band 8, 9, they're looking for very good and expert English. Expert English means English that's used in professional settings like classrooms, offices, to deliver powerful speeches, a sales pitch, for example. And that's those higher band scores. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another one. We grew up learning British English, and then we consumed a lot of American pop culture, and then we moved to Canada. Which English am I using when I'm applying for IELTS?
So Canadian English is in fact a hybrid of British and American English. So Canada being a British colony, but being neighbors to the US, has actually merged those two. Um, IELTS comes from the UK. It's originally from Cambridge. So they really, in the past especially, promoted British English on the IELTS exam. And to this day, the listening section, you most often will hear the British accent, although you hear other accents as well. However, these days, it really doesn't matter much. So IELTS has recognized that, it's an international English language testing system. Yes, English in some sense comes from the UK, but ultimately it's now a world language. As long as you're using a form of English that's clearly identifiable, like, let's say, Canadian English, and then you're not suddenly sounding a little British or trying to sound a bit British, then you won't lose marks, right? The only way you'll lose marks is if you're trying to switch between like different accents or uh, dialects of English. That's really weird. Right? So stick to the one that you use, right? And whatever that is, as long as it's understandable and consistent, it's good.
Yeah, I was coming to that. Like, I hear, like, even in my natural, like, real conversations, I hear a lot of people using slang and then switching between these, like, random accents depending on the topic. Like, if they're talking about hip hop, suddenly their language is very hip hoppy. And then suddenly it's like a different artist and the language changes. So, like, when we do these exams, do we need to control that, or is it okay?
Yeah, so again, you do. So you need to like I said with diction, where I said control your diction, you have to control yourself in the sense that you want to sound professional, so don't fake an accent. Don't force another form of language. Just stick to what you know, sound consistent, sound natural. That's what's most important. Okay?
Okay.
Did you enjoy this video? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. And to improve quickly and effectively for your next IELTS exam, visit and join our premium IELTS package at aehelp.com. You'll get over 200 videos, original practice exams, a fully interactive course, an app for your phone, and 4 weekly live lessons where you get to practice your speaking. Use the code GO9 today and save an extra 10% when you click the link in the video description below. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access. We are an IDP affiliate, a British Council partner, an IELTS test registration center, and I'm a certified British Council agent. You're in great hands with us. We help thousands of students succeed on their aspirations to study and work abroad. Begin learning for success today. Join now. Subscribe to our channel. Click over here. Watch another video. Click right up here. And click our IELTS Hero to join our premium package and get access to all of our videos, practice exams, and a fully interactive course.